This is your recap of our trials at the Ball Seed Company. And we're outside in front of the salvia because the hummingbirds are going crazy around here, and we're hoping to catch a little bit of interaction of behind us.
They are just zipping in and out of here. So if I get stabbed in the neck, they're fast. So we feed lots of hummingbirds just with the flowers behind us. So we thought it'd be a pretty backdrop. But we're talking about the show, the trials, and kind of what we saw, what we do at these shows.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's explain a little bit, give a little background.
Trials, what it is they have gardens. This is actually a very large garden.
Yeah. It's they have 13 acres, and this is Ball Seed Company, and they're kind of the big breeder developer. They do lots of genetics. They have a whole laboratory that's really cool to see that we got to go in. We get to go in and see it. The general public doesn't like to see it, doesn't get to see it. They would love to see it, but and a lot of it is confidential, so we can't necessarily take a lot of video of what's going on inside the laboratories, but we can kind of explain a little bit.
But the trials is they'll line up a variety of flowers, maybe they're all different colors, different series, and then you get to see how they're growing in that
real
climate.
Yeah, seeing what it looks like side by side. Some are thicker, taller, shorter, just the different colors. So seeing the trial gardens in the real world, and you can kind of compare, see it, touch and feel with your own hands. So I guess you could if you wanted.
What were you doing at the gardens?
Right. But there's 13 acres. It's amazing.
It is.
It's absolutely amazing to see. It's so impressive. So
the hot things for the year. What's upcoming, what is starting to be a little bit more on the decline. That doesn't mean decline like it's going to go extinct or you're never going to have it.
Yeah.
It just means that there's less sales.
Flowers are fashionable.
They are.
And so it doesn't stay the same year to year. Mm-hmm. So we have
Which makes it hard for ordering.
It is. And we're almost a year ahead. We're ordering now at this time, so that in the spring we can kind of predict, and it's very hard to do. So they kind of give you a little bit of guidance, insider of okay, and so our salesperson,
we've seen a decline of petunias or geraniums. Mm-hmm. Geraniums used to be huge. Think of your grandma's garden. That was what crop. They did.
Just not nearly as popular.
And that doesn't mean that it's not going to revamp as being the most popular one.
No, yeah, but it might have we saw a 10% decline in this or this color.
So the new kind of the upcoming hot plants, I'm going to say, is going to be the salvia, which we talk about all the time. That's what's all behind. Sorry. That's behind us here. And then the lantana, which we showcase a lot too. And
fanflower, lots of scaevola.
Yes, scaevola was another huge one.
And for good reason. I've loved that plant for a long time. Mm-hmm. Just a solid performer, and it's, I think, starting to catch. They used a lot of scaevola all around
in their displays.
Yeah, a lot of the red, white, and blue, of course, for our 250th anniversary of the USA. They were using lots of red, white, and blue scaevola.
Yes.
So
those are kind of the uptick of, you'll see more of that coming into the next growing season. Geraniums on the decline, petunias a little bit more on the decline. The super petunias, I would say those are rising up, where the regular petunias are kind of,
people are
they want the less maintenance.
Yeah, the no deadheading with the super petunias. But the wave petunias, I mean, technically, you can deadhead them. We don't. So we don't deadhead any petunias.
But there's a lot of, and I think that you as the viewer can comment in on this, deer resistant. And no plant is absolutely resistant, the 100%.
Diseases or bugs.
But the diseases, the bugs, what do we have that doesn't need as much treatment, doesn't need as much trimming?
The care
of it.
Yeah.
And the longer bloom cycles. And that's what they're all working on in that genetic area.
Yeah, absolutely.
How can they make the plant not get powdery mildew as fast?
Mm-hmm. Which is not an instant, realize that the research they're doing is decades, it takes a lot of years to develop and isolate and get the correct genetics down,
Right.
and going through that growing cycle, and like this worked, this didn't, let's take this one and develop the genetics more on this line because it just performed better. So that's a lot of what they do. It's really neat to see.
It is.
And it's amazing to see it at that scale. You know,
and the gardens were absolutely stunning.
Yeah, like we're literally 13 acres of just the most amazing flowers that you've seen.
And then it's a really good opportunity if you're a greenhouse to go to these trials, because you get to meet other greenhouses and you get to say, how was your season? What did you struggle with? You know, what was your hot flower of the year that sold out right away?
Yeah. So comparing notes,
yeah,
and more of it is a big mix because it's not just greenhouses. Like we sat down at lunch with the Milwaukee Zoo groundskeepers. They're in charge of all the flowers and the trees and the landscaping. So to sit and talk with them was neat because it's a totally different area than, you know, expertise than what we're used to.
Yeah, they're not doing retail at all. They're just simply
making the zoo beautiful. So
and
that was really neat.
And then we also sat with a grower out of Kalamazoo.
Yeah, yeah.
And I didn't understand that he was a grower at first. So when he said, well, there's just greenhouses piled right next to each other. And I'm like, you know, different greenhouses. I'm like, what? Yeah. But they're
a wholesaler.
Yeah, they're a wholesaler of the young plants.
Yeah, so they're developing plants to a certain stage and then selling them wholesale-wise to retail greenhouses. Like us, we're a retail greenhouse.
So the other big thing that they are saying is going to be big for next year, tropicals.
Yeah. So our
now
sales gal, Becca, she had said, you know, she's giving us that advice, and she's usually really good at, you know,
she is
at guiding us of like, this is what's hot. And she said, go check out the tropicals area because that is coming.
It's Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So
I'm totally on board with that. I absolutely love tropicals because it kind of gets me out of that. We're up to our armpits in snow and we're dreaming of somewhere where we're in the sand and the sun and the palm trees and those beautiful tropical flowers. So I'm right on board with that. I love tropicals. It takes me to a different place, a happy place.
But it will stretch us because now we have to become more educated on tropicals, because when people are struggling with them, they say
it's a totally different game.
It is because it's not. That's not just annuals at that point.
Yeah, and a lot of people are going to be like, "Now is this a perennial in Wisconsin?" No, this is a perennial down in Florida, or you know, it's a totally different game. But I'm all about it. I love tropicals, so I'm kind of excited about that and seeing. They're just so different and beautiful and exotic. So that was really neat to see. So yeah, tropicals are going to be hot.
That's what we've been told.
Yeah.
So what is your take on that? Mm-hmm. Tropicals or not? Like, because you know, there's a lot of people that like to have more of that country garden look. That cottage. Cottage garden.
Sure.
Tropicals don't fit into a cottage garden.
No. But I wish we could develop palm trees for the northern climate.
It was a great trip, though. It was a lot of learning, and we can't wait to go on the next trip because every time you go to a new area, you learn something new and you meet new people, and that it just.
This is our continuing education, basically.
It is.
Of getting different views from insiders and people who are in different businesses necessarily than we are.
Within the same industry.
Yeah, we're all growing flowers and plants, but we each have our expertise or different, you know, how we do things and see things, and so it is neat. It's kind of fun. It's a fun part of our job.
It is a fun part of our job.
Just going and enjoying the flowers at somebody else's facility.
Yeah. So recap. Next year, 2027. So depending on when you're watching this video, this is what we're talking about. hot items of the year they're projecting is tropicals, salvia, and lantana. Those were the three, like, keep your eye open. You're going to see a lot of it. You're going to see a lot of growth in that. And you can see behind us, this is all salvia. And
we've loved it. We've always loved the salvia. Yeah.
And the hummingbirds, if you haven't been noticing, have been swarming our heads.
Yeah.
So
yeah, salvia for the pollinators,
yes,
for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. And we've seen that in our own greenhouses, which when something's more popular and we have to grow more of it, we have to kind of cut somewhere else. We only have so much space. And so salvia, it's like every year we have to dedicate more space for salvia. The Rock and Play in the Blues from Proven Winners, that salvia, we're out of it. Like first week, 2 weeks, maybe,
yeah, it was like
max.
The first 2 weeks or so.
Yeah. We only made it 2 weeks into that.
And
that
there's
time
not,
frame.
the hard part about owning a greenhouse is you're setting the trend for the next year. You're guessing the trend for the next year.
Yeah. The people set the trend.
It's an educated guess, but you're kind of, you have to grow according to that. We do not ship product in. We grow it. So that means there's a grow time. When we run out of a product, we can't just turn around and say, hey, Bob,
send me another semi
of salvia. We have
there's a 2 month
we have
grow
weeks,
time. Yeah.
Weeks
we have
before that
February,
happens.
March, April, and now stuff grows faster as you get into, like, we could bring in small plugs in May. Early May, if we see that, like, okay, this is going fast.
But they're still going to be smaller than what you would buy.
But our window is really a month and a half maximum of that sell time.
So keep that in mind when you're shopping in the greenhouses in the spring of the year. If you see something, you're like, oh my goodness, I love this. I'm going to get this later. Later might be too late.
Yeah.
I hate to say that, but.
Yeah, we're kind of when we're out of it, we're out of it. And people will say,
and there's some greenhouses,
so when are you going to have more of this? And I'll say, well, next spring, spring of 2027 is when we'll have more of it.
Yeah.
What? Like, yeah, we only have a small window.
And there's some greenhouses that have a much larger facility and they have plants all the way through. And we saw greenhouses that were open and had huge baskets, but they're all clearanced out.
Yeah, and that's not our model.
It's too hot to hold that inventory, to sit and care for it and fertilize it and care for it and care for it on the chance of somebody, because a lot of the planting is done. A lot of people, when they plant their yard up. They don't,
and then they're done.
And
the bulk of it, they're done.
And then they'll come back and
the deer ate this, so I need another one of this.
Right.
And that's not our model. Is we're open in spring, May, and June, and then we're done. Or 3 weeks in June. So that's just a totally different model that we have.
Every greenhouse has their own, and that was
some are open year round.
And that's where we sit and talk and game plan and what's going on. So.
So that's the recap of the Ball Seed Show, and we're traveling again this next week, and so we're going to go to more trial gardens down in Cresco, Iowa at Plant Peddler. So it'd be a different version of that, which will be really neat to see, in different greenhouses and different experiences. So it's more continuing education for us and seeing what their perspective is and what's hot from their perspective and what'll be hot next year. So,
right.
All right. So thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Bye-bye.